Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for a regular Thursday lecture. I hope that you all are doing well, and we are thrilled that you decided to spend this evening with Education USA Ukraine and learn more about the opportunities to study in the United States. Today, we've got lots of exciting things in store for you, but before we get started, let me just briefly introduce myself. As some of you may already know, my name is Victoria and I'm the outreach coordinator for the Education USA network here in Ukraine. We are, of course, part of the global network of the US Department of State, which consists of over 435 international student advising centers in more than 180 countries. As the official source on US higher education, we offer accurate, comprehensive, and unbiased information about opportunities to study at accredited colleges and universities in the United States. And today we're going to talk about essay writing. The application essay is one of the ways that international students really use to make their application effective and memorable when applying to US universities. If you want to hear about the expectations of the admissions committee, identify engaging topics for your essay, find out about common admission essay mistakes and writing tips, then you're in the right place. Today, it's my pleasure to welcome Захарією Tomas, international student recruiter at the University of South Alabama, who will share some insights into crafting a winning essay to apply to a university or college in the United States. Before we get started, I would just like to encourage all of you to please stay active and ask lots of questions. We would love to hear from you and help you on your journey to US study. I, of course, will be monitoring all of your questions and make sure we get to all of them at the end of the presentation. Zachary, it's an honor to have you here with us. Please take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Everyone who is watching, listening, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us for this presentation. Like she said, my name is Zach Thomas. I am the international student recruiter from the University of South Alabama. And today I will tell you a little bit about some academic writing tips, some essay tips, as well as opportunities to study in the United States. So again, I am from the University of South Alabama. We're located in the south of the United States, very close to the coast, very close to Florida. If you are familiar with where Florida is on the map, we're very close to Florida, very close to beaches. I like it because it's great weather. It doesn't get very cold. It doesn't snow much here. So to me, that's one thing that I find very enjoyable about our campus. So again, today I will be talking about why you can study in the United States. What are some tips, some benefits? I'll tell you about the University of South Alabama as far as some information of our admission information, our academic information. I'll also explain kind of what is academic writing, as well as how to have an academic writing style. So, some reasons to study in the United States. We have many high-quality institutions. There are over 1,000, if not 2,000, 3,000 institutions in the United States for higher education. You have a lot of opportunity for research in many fields, whether that be engineering, whether that be technology, science. You have many opportunities to participate in research opportunities. There are a broad range of programs, so many programs to choose from, many specific concentrations, opportunities, programs. We have a very fun student lifestyle. You can study, you can work on campus, you can make friends. You can also improve your English skills by studying here in the United States. You can speak English with your coworkers, with your co-students, your professors. You can have international experience for future jobs, a new perspective on the world, and meet people from all over the world. I myself met people from many different countries, many different regions while I studied. So you could do the same and meet people and make new friends from all around the world, right? And so thinking about a U.S. institution, thinking about all of the many different places to study and to choose from, there are a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different maybe qualifications that you can think of as to which university you should choose, right? So earlier I mentioned our location, our climate, right? If you prefer to be in a colder climate, if you prefer to be in a hotter climate, it would be best maybe to choose a university in that area, right? So think about yourself, think about what you prefer, right? Think about the available programs in that specific university. I know many students think like Harvard, many students think like Yale for the university that they want to attend, but oftentimes the specific program that you want may not be available at those big schools. So sometimes if you kind of think more specifically as to what those programs that are available are, you can find a university that fits you and your personality best, right? Of course, we have to think about the cost, the financial aid. Some institutions may be more expensive than others. So, whether they offer more money as far as financial aid, as far as scholarships, that's also something to think about in choosing a university. Of course, there are different support services with every different university. I know our university, we have different support services for international students, for academic tutoring, different options for students here on campus to help you. We also have extracurricular activities, different opportunities for research and internships, and kind of overall, what is the most important to you, right? So when thinking of your perspective, when thinking of what you want in an education, it's best to kind of think about all of these things first before you commit to one specific university and don't think about all of your options. So it's best to kind of think about everything before you fully commit to one university. So again, we are located on the Gulf Coast. That's where we're located, very close to Florida, very close to the coast. We have 3 different beaches about 1 hour away from campus. They're beautiful, great in the summertime. We have average temperatures in spring, summer, fall, and winter that are all very pleasant. So usually we don't get much snow at all, really. We have lots of sunny days, so it is a very pleasant place to live. A subtropical climate. So that's one thing that I enjoy because it doesn't get very cold and I don't like snow that much. So to me, this is one aspect of this university that fits my personality. The city that we're located in is Mobile, Alabama. We are a port city, so we have access to international shipping, international trade. We are growing in our size. We are the 11th largest shipping port by volume. We have many multinational and international companies in our area. We have different holidays that we celebrate specifically in Mobile, a lot of festivities, lots of fun things to do in our downtown area as well as the city. I like to think that our city is very similar to the city of New Orleans, Louisiana. It's almost like a smaller, safer version of New Orleans, and has a lot of characteristics, a lot of similar traits like New Orleans, just in a smaller, more safe manner. So about the University of South Alabama, in the US, we are considered a medium-sized institution. That means we have around 14,000 students. So that is not too big, not too small. It's just right in the middle. Your average class size is around 22 students. So as a student, you are seen, you are heard, right? You're not just a number out of 100 in a giant classroom, but the professor can see you, you can interact with the professor and have a relationship with the professor. So to me, that makes it more appealing to have more of a say in your education, right? We have over 100 degree programs, 18 research centers, as well as over 250 student organizations. So lots of things for you to get involved, get active on campus, and to make friends and make the most of your experience here in the United States. With our 9 different colleges, we have different areas of research, different areas of studies. The most popular, I would say, is the School of Computing. that comprises of computer science, information systems, information technology. I would say one of the other most popular is the College of Engineering. That includes most major types of engineering, so electrical, mechanical, civil, computer. We also have environmental engineering, which includes coastal engineering, as well as also in chemical engineering, we have biomedical, and within mechanical engineering, we also have aerospace engineering. So lots of opportunities there. And then also another one of the most popular, I would say, is our College of Business. Inside of the College of Business, you have your accounting, finance, economics, business administration, many different areas of programs of study and things like that. We have, over 100 programs to choose from in any of our other academic colleges as well. Many things to choose from. We offer programs at both the undergraduate and the graduate level. So lots of study for undergraduate students and for graduate students. Lots of areas for you to kind of find your focus, find what program is best for you. These are some pictures of our campus. Great, beautiful, green, open areas, kind of very typical of a U.S. university, right? Lots of students, lots of places for you to get involved with, get on campus. Our campus is completely walkable, so you don't need a car, you don't need a bike. We do have transportation for students that takes them from building to building. That is free for students. You can just hop on. It works like a bus, and it just takes you from place to place and building to building. Campus life, right? I mentioned our campus organizations. So we have different organizations made up of students. So you can make friends, you can get involved on campus, right? We have a recreation center that's free for students. We have a cafeteria. We have housing for students, so you can live on campus. We have different activities, different holidays, lots of things to make this your home for the 4 years or the 2 years while you're here. And so in the topic of academic writing, right? If we are going to study at university, more than likely at some point we will have to write an essay. We will have to write something in an academic setting. So, let's talk about that. Academic writing is just any formal type of writing, right? Sometimes we text our friends, sometimes we can talk to people, and it may not seem as formal. However, with academic writing, this is formal language. This is not speaking in slang, not speaking in colloquial terms, but using formal language that is appropriate for an academic setting, right? So again, it's used in university and scholarly publications. Typically, anytime you write an essay, a research paper, a thesis, any academic document, you will be using a form of academic writing. Most often, it's in the third-person perspective. Third-person perspective uses typical pronouns like he or she or it, right? When we think of first person, we think of ourselves saying the pronoun I, right? With academic writing, most oftentimes you want to speak in third person. So you want to speak in he or she or the third person singular it, right? And then typically, of course, two main styles of writing would be the MLA and the APA. Those are two different formats of writing that have different rules of how you format the essay, how you write the essay, and things like that. So I'll kind of talk more about that. With our two different formats, these are the two most common and the two most popular. I know in high school, I used both of these. I used both MLA and APA format for writing essays, for writing papers. In college, it's the same thing as well. It may just depend on what area of study you are in, as well as the professor. Some professors prefer the MLA format. Some professors prefer the APA format. But They are just two different styles of writing a paper, right? So the MLA, the Modern Language Association, it's used for providing more of a uniform way for academics in the arts and humanities fields. Oftentimes with the MLA format, it regulates how you cite your sources. So you can format the document a certain way, but in the way that you cite your sources, where you received your information, that is one defining quality of the MLA format. Right, it's typically used in the arts and the humanities, so that's things like English, art, philosophy, other related subjects as well. If we think about the other format is the APA, the American Psychological Association. This is more scientific. It's more a standardized way to write scientific articles. Oftentimes it's used in social sciences, so psychology, education, sociology, sometimes business. Both are similar, but they just have different characteristics of how you cite your sources, how you format the essay. So it just depends on which program you are in, which area of study you are in, right? So again, thinking about academic writing, it's not informal, so it is formal, right? We don't speak in slang, we don't speak in colloquial phrases like we do with our friends in academic writing. It's clear, it's unbiased, it's precise, right? Everything you think of a university academic setting, that's what academic writing is. It's correct, it's well sourced, right? It's very factual. Academic writing is not personal, long-winded, emotive, or grandiose, right? So academic writing is not something that you would text your friend. Academic writing is not something how you would talk with your family at home, right? It's a little bit more elevated to make you seem more clear, more concise, to get whatever point is you want across. So thinking about the different characteristics of academic writing, with it being formal, it's unbiased. So that means it is not swaying one way or the other. It is kind of in the middle as far as its position on different topics. You have a clear outline. You have supported evidence. It's presented consistently, right? It's precise. It's clear. You reflect on your word choice. So when we think about in English, like contractions, right? If I say can, not, a contraction of that would be can't. Oftentimes in academic writing, we don't use contractions. So we say do not, cannot, instead of the shorter version of like don't or can't, right? Your language should be a little bit elevated. You shouldn't use like simple, common words. It's often nice to use words that are academic, the words that seem more elevated, to help you, seem more academic, to seem more intellectual, right? You have a clear purpose when writing on a research paper. You have a research question, statement, you have a focused argument, right? The structure, that oftentimes goes back to the style of your essay. So whether that is APA, whether that is MLA, your structure just determines whether you have an introduction as well as a body and a conclusion, how exactly you would set that up, right? We talked about the sources earlier. The sources also go back to the MLA, the APA format. It's just the difference of how you write your sources. So maybe one source has a parentheses with an underline and it's italicized, right? It just depends on the different guidelines to your source format. It needs to be correct as well as consistent. Make sure that your subject-verb agreement all makes sense. There's correct grammar, punctuation, your citations, as well as capitalizations and your verb tenses, right? Thinking about what academic writing is not, it's not very personal. It does not address the reader directly. It is concise and direct, right? So nothing personal, nothing long-winded, as well as like emotions. You want it to not be super emotional, not have, hyperbolic claims, inflated claims, right? You want to avoid emotive or subjective language, because you want it to stay consistent, you want it to stay unbiased from different opinions. Some examples, sentence of academic versus unacademic writing. The first sentence, we see also a lot of the findings are a little reliable, right? When we use words like also, a lot of, a little, those are not very intellectual. They're not very academic. So another way that we could rewrite the sentence is to use moreover, many, and somewhat instead of those other words, just to make it seem more elevated, more academic in a formal setting. Right? We have two different options here. As a teacher, you must treat your students fairly. Those pronouns you, those subject pronouns you, right? They don't seem very third person. They don't seem very intellectual. And so to make that more intellectual, to make that more general, to kind of stay unbiased, right? We could say, as a teacher, one must treat one's student fairly, or another option, teachers must treat their students fairly. This way, there is no bias. There is no like emotional direction of one specific person. It's way more general. It's way more in a way that kind of appeals to everyone rather than just to one person. Again, another option. This horrible tragedy was obviously one of the worst catastrophes in the construction history. A different way we could rewrite that to make it seem more elevated, more intellectual. The injury and mortality rates of this accident were among the highest in construction history. So oftentimes, one tip that I have for you when doing anything academic is to have someone edit it for you. So someone to review your essay, they could go line by line and read it and see if there are any improvements. Any kind of spelling or grammar check would be helpful, just as a way to elevate your writing, to make it seem more presentable in a university setting. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them now. I can talk more about my university. I can talk about the academic requirements, the scholarships, any of the any information you may have. I'll be happy to answer it. This information here, there's a QR code that you can scan for more information. That is my email. That is my WhatsApp. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for a great presentation. I highly enjoyed it and would just like to encourage once again our lovely participants at home to please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to help you and we would be more than happy to hear from you and to assist you in any way we can with your admission questions or questions specifically about application essays. I guess while we wait, I actually have a question of my own, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And it would be about some typical mistakes that you encounter in essays, in particular application essays that students may overlook or just not be aware of.
I think one in specific is definitely making it too emotional. Of course, like when you're writing about yourself, absolutely include facts about yourself, absolutely include like stories and events that happened. But sometimes students may involve too much of their emotions into the essay. And so instead of it being factual, instead of it being maybe unbiased, it is more biased to their emotions and subjective to maybe how they feel, how they were feeling at a specific point in time in the past. I think unless you have an essay prompt that specifically asks about your emotions, oftentimes I think it is best for students to maybe keep their essays more or less subjective.
Thank you so much for such great advice. And we have a question from Maria. So Maria is wondering, what is the most cliche topic that you shouldn't write your essay about?
And before I say, so my university does not require an application essay. I know if you apply through the website, the Common App, they will require an essay, but most universities, and mine in particular, does not require an application essay, but that is a great question. I think oftentimes students want to talk about maybe the most defining thing that happens in their life, which is great. And like yes, talk about something that's very important to you, but I think that students forget to relay that into how that can help them in a university settings or in a university setting. Because oftentimes people will tell me about a very significant moment in their life, but they will stop the essay there. There is no like, and this is how that will help me improve, or this is how that will help me to apply to university. So I think something that's very cliche is just students telling me about themselves instead of telling me why they should apply or how they will succeed in the university setting based on an experience that they've had.
Thank you so much for such an elaborative answer that really dives deeply into the question. And thank you so much, Maria, for being so active today and for reaching out. So we have another question from Pavlo, and Pavlo is wondering, does book reading improve one's essay writing skills?
I think absolutely. Of course, fiction books may help you with just like your writing skills, your reading skills. Of course, nonfiction books in an academic setting, I know those are not the most fun to read. However, reading those type of essays, reading those type of like published articles would absolutely help you with your essay writing skills because you can see an example of a good essay, something that is published, something that you could clearly see different examples of what to do, maybe what not to do. I think that definitely would help with essay writing.
Thank you so much for your answer, and thank you, Pablo, for reaching out. If you have any questions specifically directed towards application essays, we are here to help you and assist you. You can always sign up for a free consultation with one of our lovely advisors and get the chance to receive feedback on your application essay. And our next question is from Anastasia. So Anastasia is wondering, does the University of South Alabama provide full financial aid to international students in the meaning of full ride scholarship?
We do not provide a full ride scholarship. However, we do provide scholarships for students. We provide scholarships up to $10,000. That's per year for 4 years. That just depends on your grades from high school, your test scores, your English language scores as well. And that's at the undergraduate level. At the graduate level, we do offer a graduate assistantship. So that helps students pay for their tuition as well as give them a monthly stipend for extra expenses.
Thank you so much for such an in-depth answer, and thank you, Anastasia, for reaching out. Once again, we are here to provide you with any resources you need. So if you're wondering about the best ways to go about seeking funding, you can always reach out to one of our advisors and get resources and materials that will help you on your way. And another question is from Dasha. Dasha, thank you so much for being with us. And Dasha is wondering, what tips do you have for practicing writing essays?
I think one tip would be maybe to Google research topics. You could research maybe popular essay topics for college admission. So you could maybe kind of preview the different topics that you may see in an admissions essay in the prompt. You could practice writing those. One thing that we used to do in high school was a peer review edit. So our friends, our classmates, we would switch our papers and we would read each other's paper. We would mark the sentences that are incorrect or need improvement. And so if you have a friend who also is going to apply for a US institution or any kind of essay, right, you could each write a paper, switch and read and review and edit each other's paper in order to improve.
Yes, thank you for some amazing advice, and thank you, Dasha, for reaching out. Once again, EducationUSA does provide you the opportunity of receiving feedback on your application essay, and we are here to assist you on this journey and share any resources you may require, as well as give really in-depth feedback on some of the things you may need to look into or think about improving, because of course, as Zachary has said, a second pair of eyes is always best. And another question we've got is from Alina. So Alina is wondering, is a personal statement required everywhere, or any other type of essay may be faced? So
Essays are not required everywhere. I know some universities that do require them, some universities that do not require them. There are so many institutions in the United States that are all different. So there is no like, yes, they all do, or no, they all don't. Each university is different. I can say that we do not.
Thank you so much for your answer, and thank you, Alina, for reaching out. We do advise that our students do prior research before applying to university so that you know what are some of the requirements, and of course are best prepared to get the best possible chance of receiving like an invitation email from your university of your dreams, and of course getting the chance to study in the United States. And we've got another question from Pavlo. So Pavlo is wondering how to objectively reflect on one's written essay for any grammatical or contextual mistakes.
I think a good example of this is the grammar correct, like the auto spelling the grammar correct. Oftentimes with like Microsoft Word, with Google Pages, they have software that can correct the grammar for you. As far as the contextual mistakes, that may be something that you could kind of see if an English language speaker, who like maybe a native speaker or someone who has a good level of English, can read that for you, because oftentimes there may be no grammar mistakes. However, the context of the essay may flow differently if you have someone who has a higher English level.
Thank you so much for such an informative answer. And once again, Pavlo, you can always reach out to one of our lovely advisors. And the best advice I can personally give is, of course, to read a lot of essays, because then you'll get more familiar with the structure and the way an essay flows, and it will reflect, of course, on your personal writing style as well. So we've got another question from Maria, and Maria is wondering, thank you for your answer. I have another question. Are extracurriculars an important aspect of your application for university?
For our university, they are not. But again, that is different for every university in the United States. So each university has different requirements, different things that they look for. As far as my university, we do not for admissions. We do offer external scholarships, so scholarships that are not specifically academic, but we offer like leadership scholarships. So if you are in a lot of extracurricular activities, if you are presented as a leader in your area, we do offer scholarships for those, but those are separate from the admissions process.
Thank you so much for your answer, and thank you, Maria, for being so active today. We've got another question from Daria on scholarships. So Daria is wondering, are there any sports scholarships and opportunities in the University of South Alabama?
There are. That is not me. So I specifically do academic scholarships and academic recruiting, but those programs are available. We are a Division I school, so that makes us very competitive. It's the highest level of competition of sports for both men and women. We have around 17 sports for both men and women. If you want more information as far as the sports, you can send me an email, send me a message, and I will put you in contact with the specific coach that you're looking for.
Thank you so much for your answer, and thank you, Daria, for reaching out. Once again, if you're looking for any specific advice on sports scholarships and opportunities and ways to best look for them and reach out to university admission representatives, we are here to help you and support you. So you can always send us an email or sign up for a free consultation. And I guess a final question from my side would be a rather general one. So what are some of the things you look for in a prospective student for the University of South Alabama?
Yeah, absolutely. For us specifically, we are mainly looking at your academic records. So for us, a minimum of a 2.5 GPA, that's on a 4.0 scale. So 2.5 out of 4.0. We're looking at your grades from high school, right? as well as the things like the SAT, the ACT, those are optional. However, if students do choose to take the SAT or the ACT, they do have extra opportunity for scholarships. So they can receive up to $10,000 with their high school GPA, with the SAT or the ACT, and they can receive that $10,000 every year for 4 years, right? As far as our English testing that we're looking for Duolingo, IELTS, or TOEFL. We accept all of those. We do accept IB as well. So if students are in an IB school, we accept those credits as well.
Thank you so much for your answer. And just to follow up on that, when it comes to TOEFL and IELTS, do you accept the at-home version, or do students have to take the exam at a testing center?
We accept, I know it's the TOEFL IBT that we accept. I don't know if you can take that one specifically at home or at a official testing center. I'm not exactly sure.
Thank you so much for such a great presentation and for sharing some wonderful advice with our students. Thank you to our lovely students for being so active today. And once again, if you have any follow-up questions, you can always reach out to our advisors. All of our contacts are in the description of today's video, so you will have them and get a chance to really get in-depth information and advice on specific topics that you're interested in regarding university admissions or specific programs that you might be the perfect candidate for. I would just like to encourage you once again to stay tuned and click into our session next week. We're going to be looking into studying STEM in the United States, so I would love to see you there. Thank you once again, Zachary, for a fantastic presentation. I highly enjoyed it and do hope we can collaborate in the future. For any students interested in applying to the University of South Alabama, you can always reach out to me directly, or maybe to Zach if you have more specific questions on the application level. And thank you so much for being with us. I do see a final question. So Alina is wondering which extracurriculars would be a good idea to share in your essay. Do you maybe have some ideas on that?
Yeah, for sure. So any extracurriculars that you do while you were in high school, that includes sports, that includes clubs, so student organizations or student clubs, anything that shows that you can balance your academic life as well as extracurriculars. So anything that shows that you are a leader, that you are well organized, any kind of the qualities that you need while studying in a university. I think those different extracurriculars would be great in including in an essay. So anything like sports, anything like a club, organization, any volunteers as well, or volunteership, those are great for an essay.
Thank you so much for such a great answer, and thank you, Alina, for reaching out. We do have another question from Daria. So Daria is wondering, do you accept the GCSE English language result as proof of English language proficiency?
That I am not exactly sure of. If you want to send me an email, I can research that and get back with you. I do apologize, but I know for sure that we do accept TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo. However, the GCSE, I'm not exactly sure of.
Thank you so much. And once again, Daria, I'll be sure to follow up with any questions you may have. Thank you so much to all of you for being so active today. I wish you the best of luck in your application process. Believe in yourself and keep persevering, and you will achieve your dreams and make them a reality. I do hope to see you next week. Wishing you the best of luck. Stay safe and stay with Education USA. Bye.